Hi guys, happy Sunday. And the major reason behind me making this video was about the incident that happened in Ahmedabad, the Air India flight crash. Yesterday, I was sitting down with my dad and having a small discussion at the dinner table along with my mom, since both are from the aviation sector. So we were having a small discussion within ourselves. So about the what do you call, the so-called Air India crash, and I asked my dad, being into the aviation sector, like what could have been the reasons. I asked him three major points. So he explained me what it is all about and what could have been the reasons for this particular flight crash to happen. Now, unlike other people, most of them tell that it could have been a sabotage. Few people say that it is because of the engine fault, both the engines going down. Yeah, these could be reasons. And there's another group of people who are talking about flaps. Now these are all technical terms that are being used, which people, in terms of a layman's understanding about these concepts is completely blank. They don't know head or tail about what they are talking about. So I thought it's better that I make a video and explain you guys what this is all about and how these things happen. Now DGCA, even DGCA, most of them don't even know what is DGCA. DGCA, Director General Civil Aviation. Now these are the guys who give the license for the flights to be flown here in India. I mean, even for the airports, like the airliners, like whether it's Jet Airways, Lufthansa, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, the Manya Airways back those days. So these are flights who take license from the DGCA. That's the Director General Civil Aviation, whom they take license from in order to operate here in airports in India. Now talking about what exactly happened. Now the flight took off and it landed, it descended and it crashed, right? Let's take three different options. One, like as per what people say, that it could have been a bird crash which leads to the engine failure. Few people say that the fuel supply line was cut off, due to which the supply to the engines got stopped, because of which the engine stopped and it crashed. Few people say fuel contamination, again considering it more like a sabotage. Few people say it's flaps, the so-called flaps. So considering all these points aside, now let's take it from the pilot's point of view. Well, as per what my dad told, whenever, when we are driving off in a car, let us say I'm going from here to Mumbai, that's Bangalore to Mumbai, I'm traveling by car. What do? First thing, I go to Google Maps, I put the destination as Mumbai, say click go ahead, and it gives me the direction, and I start driving. Am I correct? So the same way, what happens is, in flights there are systems that are kept, in which there are programming that is done, stating the flight is being programmed to go from Mumbai, from Ahmedabad to Gatwick, that's London, right? So it was programmed in that manner and kept, for which they say that this is the fuel needed, this is what is the direction that is followed. And these aircrafts are being designed in such manner that the autopilot gets on at certain point in time, when the system feels that the system needs to take control, just like Tesla cars, in other words. So these things are done, okay. And the Dreamliner is a kind of a plane that is completely sophisticated. So it's what do you call, there's a particular term that my dad used, fly by wire, which means that it's completely automatic. Yeah, so that's programmed, right? Now before that, SOP, standard operating procedures, which they call in technical terms, wherein if the fuel is okay, if the engine functioning is normal. So all these are checked. Considering all these points and looking into that particular video, what my dad told was it was a perfect takeoff. Perfect takeoff. There was no such glitches, because people talking about flaps can be at 5 degrees, 10 degrees or 15 degrees depending upon the distance of the runway. Yeah, the distance that is of the Ahmedabad airport, they are telling it's about 3,100 square feet or something like that. So which is ample space for a plane to take off in a proper manner. Second thing, at 5 degrees is more than enough as per the experts. I'm talking all these things as per the experts, because DGCA instructor, who is a pilot instructor, he himself told that a 5 degree to 10 degree is more than enough for a flight to have enough thrust to take off, right? So they had enough thrust, they had enough fuel, everything was in place. What might have gone wrong, as per my dad being a pilot himself, he also told me that generally if there is any kind of issue, like let us say in the mid-air, if there is any kind of issue in a program or any other thing, manually it can be overwritten. But these kind of programs need some time in order to find out what exactly is the issue and reprogram it accordingly. Now at 600 feet, that's 400 feet to be precise, 200 feet is already taken off by the sea level, right? So from earth, that's from the ground to the air distance, it's about 400 odd meters. Imagine the payload it had, the thrust it had, and the speed it had. What do you think a pilot can do? This is the question my dad has. He says even if he was there in that position at 400 feet, no pilot, no कितना भी अच्छा pilot हो जाए, कुछ नहीं कर पाता. Reason why is because when the program again, in order to make sure that the things go normal, it takes some time. And for the speed and the power and the distance that they had, no ways, highly impossible. In fact, the pilot has done a great job, that he wanted to make sure that he would land that particular flight beyond that particular college, where there was an ample space to crash land without any casualties. But unfortunately the flight was in such a position that it had to touch off the building, and because of which such a big huge incident happened. Other which ways, I think the pilot has done the best job in terms of thinking at that moment to make sure that what best can be done. As a pilot, I think he's done a great job. That's what my dad told. He's done the maximum, he has taken the maximum effort possible. And as a matter of fact, why the tires didn't go inside, generally when there is a hydraulic failure, I asked him about this as well, since he's from the aviation sector. So he told me that generally at a feet of about 10,000 to 12,000 is where when the tires go inside the plane. Until then it is not considered safe to take the tire inside. That's the reason why you can see certain flights, even after achieving a certain distance, they take their own sweet time to make sure that the flight tires go in. But that was the reason why the flight tires were outside, first thing. Second thing, even if it's crash landing anywhere, it could be safe karke, but unfortunately he was in a city zone, so nothing could be done. So these are certain parameters that we also need to look at from the pilot's point of view. Just blaming the flight, this that does not work out that way. We should look at both the ends, from the pilot's point of view and also from the technical point of view. So I think there's a huge investigation that needs to be done. Since the black box has been retrieved now, I think things will fall in place, and people will give the right info. I wish it happens. And another thing which I would like to say, DGCA, that's the Director General Civil Aviation, is that they need to pull up their socks. It's high time. The civil aviation people, especially in commercial airliners, lot of complaints of late. Lots of complaints. AC not working. People are managing. They're saying some person is saying the seats are not proper, but then they are managing somehow and going. So these are very lethargic way of answering people, that when we are charging so much from the customers, I think they also need to look into all these things. So that's my what you call thought or impression about this particular incident which happened. So you guys also let me know what could have been the reason, and what do you feel that it would be better to do in terms of aviation sector. Because again, a crash today, a chopper crashed, 7 people, Uttarakhand. I heard it's 7, I'm not quite sure, but as of what I got to know, 5 are already dead, it seems. So there are 6 to 7 accidents that are happened. From which place was that? Goma was, I think so, it's some Kedarnath side. They were supposed to go for pilgrimage, and it was an Aryan aviation helicopter which crashed. So I think the aviation sector need to be a bit more stringent in their approach towards these things. Yeah, and I think I've spoken a lot. So thank you. Well, let's talk about this in the next video, and we'll see what can be done. Yeah, thank you.